Kim Stewart with Bryan once again. We just finished recapping your East Bay trip, and after that it was followed up by the first West Coast swing of the year. Those West Coast swings kind of bookending the USAC racing season. Why don't you recap for us a little bit what happened on that West Coast swing?
Yeah, we had a busy West Coast swing. It's kind of one of those we look forward to every year, going out there at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, and we get to do a lot of racing, so it's pretty fun. And we got to start off at Tucson with all three divisions, which was pretty cool. It was the first time I'd done that and driven the Silver Crown car, which was a lot of fun. So we had a pretty good weekend overall. We ran 6 in the midget, 6 in the sprint car, and the Silver Crown car we ran 11th, but we qualified second in that and ran second in the dash, so we ran a lot better than what we finished. It was just a matter of driver error and just learning some of the kind of nuances of Silver Crown racing, which was pretty cool. So I kind of felt like a rookie again, which was abnormal, but it was a lot of fun, and had a lot of fun working with all the guys at TSR, and can't wait to get back on the track with that thing at Newton. So it was a lot of fun there at Tucson, and then from there we moved on to Vegas, where we ran 7th in the sprint car and 12th in the midget, and kind of fought tire strategy in the midget. It started taking rubber during the sprint car race, and we went with a little bit harder tire, and it didn't quite pan out for us, so we kind of bit ourselves there, and so it wasn't a great trip to Vegas, but we had a lot of fun, and got to take in a great World of Outlaw race the day after, so that was pretty cool, and always a lot of fun to catch more racing on a racing trip. So I guess we just can't get enough. And then we went to Paris, where we fought some weather and rained out Saturday night, and they moved it to Sunday, and they did a great job getting that place ready, and we ran 4th in the midget and 19th in the sprint car. We got turned around running 9th or 10th with 2 or 3 laps to go there in the sprint car race. So it wasn't spectacular, but it was going to be a decent finish, and just came up a little short there at the end. So overall, it was a decent West Coast swing. We got out of there close in the points, I guess. It wasn't a great swing for us, but we had some good runs, and felt like we made some headway on both our programs, so that was good for us.
Now, obviously, you're still a fairly young racer, and there are lots and lots of new experiences to be had, but it seems like you really excel at finding new challenges and sort of capitalizing on them. And the big one, I guess, for the West Coast swing, after East Bay being the car driver and owner and running for a completely different team, the Champ Car was the thing about going to Tucson. So talk a little bit more about just getting the feel for that car and how similar or different it is from anything else.
It was pretty nerve-wracking, to kind of jump into that situation at TSR, and have never driven a Silver Crown car before. It was pretty, I don't know, I guess pressure-filled a little bit. You're kind of jumping right into the spotlight, and having to perform right away, and so it was definitely going to be an interesting trip to Tucson heading out there, but never did I imagine we'd qualify second and run second in the dash and run up front the first part of the race. So it was a lot of fun, and they were like big old sprint cars, I guess, around that place. They were a lot of fun on the 3/8 mile, and really cool. Just quite a bit. They raced quite a bit different than anything I'd ever driven, but they were a lot of fun to drive, and can't wait to get back on the dirt at any mile. I think it's going to be even more different. It'll be another learning curve for me, but that place has a lot of history, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I look forward to kind of continuing learning that form of racing.
In another interview, you were talking about Scott Bennick and how he is just like one of the guys you want to drive for when you drive sprint cars. I imagine no matter what series or where you're driving, the opportunity to drive for Tony Stewart has got to be pretty huge. There's got to be a lot of, I would say, responsibility maybe there, a lot of wanting to do right by the guy, but also a lot of experience and an experienced crew behind you, so that's got to give you a little bit of confidence at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. They got a great group of guys over there at TSR, and obviously having won the last 2 or 3 sprint car championships, and they know what they're doing over there. So they brought good cars to Tucson, obviously, as we rolled out of the gate and we're fast, and it just definitely gives you a lot of confidence going to the track, knowing that you just got to figure out how to get it around there, and it'll be good. So it's definitely a great opportunity with Tony, and he's a guy that everybody looks up to and respects, and obviously is one of the best drivers of our time, basically in anything. So to get the opportunity to drive for his team is pretty cool, and it was a lot of fun at Tucson. I look forward to continuing that.
Some people say with the Silver Crown cars, moving into those, it's a lot about car management and just getting used to the longer races. Obviously, for you, it's not so much of an issue of how long the race is, but getting used to the changes of managing those over the course of the race.
Yeah, it's obviously length isn't quite a big a deal because I've ran 250-mile races and things like that, but just getting used to starting a race with 50, 60, 70 gallons of fuel behind you and ending a race with not near as much. So the cars go through a lot of changes, and you got to work a little bit harder from inside the cockpit to keep up with the changing track and the changing car and everything that goes along with it. And it is a lot more of a stock car like race. It's a lot of management and taking care of your stuff and picking your moves at the right time and being patient. So just kind of getting into the flow of that and learning how to adapt that form into a 50-lap race was a little bit different for me. So we'll continue to kind of work on that, and the races will be a little bit longer when we go to the mile, so that'll help a little bit, and it'll continue just to be learning.
With the Hoosier 100 coming up here, not in the not too distant future, you mentioned that's a much bigger track, and it's a lot longer. The past several years, it's really come down to tire management at the end. Is that going to play into your hands more, or is it something that you think you're going to have to learn and develop?
It could work both ways. I might be so naive that it works into my advantage, and I might go smoke the tires off of it. But I think it'll definitely play into my hands a little bit, just having the stock car experience and learning how to manage tires over a long run. So we'll kind of draw upon that experience and kind of adapt it for dirt track racing and see how it plays out. But they're just a whole different beast, and it's going to take a little bit to kind of get used to what you need to do to win a Silver Crown race.
Of the 3 tracks that comprise that West Coast swing there, which one was your favorite one to just actually race on?
Oh, Tucson was probably my favorite just because it was new. I'd never been there, and getting to run all 3 around there was pretty cool, and it's a really fast joint, especially when it's heavy. So that place was a lot of fun, and I always enjoy going to new tracks, and the Silver Crown cars around there were just a blast to drive. What
about Paris? That's the one we haven't really touched on quite so much. Tell us a little bit about that track and how that night developed, even though I imagine it's probably not your favorite Monday race to look back on.
Probably, if we were talking about last fall, it would have been my favorite by far, but Paris was just, it was really kind of heavy. They fought weather, obviously getting rained out the night before, and it was pretty heavy, so it was tough to kind of maneuver around, and especially in the midget, everything got so locked down, it was just tough to pass, and we actually hurt a motor at the beginning of in the heat race. So we kind of had to battle back from that and get that fixed. But it was just kind of one of those nights where you started, you were going to have to work hard to move up, and we were able to kind of move up a little bit in both cars before the sprint car. We got tangled up and fell back, but it wasn't my favorite night of racing at the pass. But the place has still been great to me in the past, and I look forward to going back there this fall.
Well, it sounds like you learned a lot out on that trip and came away with some information that's really going to help inform the second West Coast trip more towards the end of the season.
Yeah, we obviously didn't have quite the West Coast trip we had hoped for going out there, but there's definitely learned some stuff that if we happen to be in a title fight this November, we'll definitely be able to draw off of and make our chances that much better.